Welcome to the Journeyman Guitarist. Today we're going to talk about Wind Through the Trees, the PRS Flanger that got released last year. I recently got my hands on one. I really have a particular fondness for a great flanger sound. I've used it on and off through my whole career whenever I could. And when you go through the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s, that kind of thing, especially out of the 70s, there were some classic flanger sounds that I always wanted to connect with and always wanted to kind of incorporate into my own tones that you search for. And I remember probably, 2004, 2005, something like that. I was hanging around with Daniel Steinhardt from Gig Rig. You might have seen him on that pedal show. And Daniel became sort of a pedal guru of mine and just a gear guru. And when we just would, go back and forth on a lot of things. And one of the classic flangers he turned me on to was the old Electric Mistress. And I had an old 70s Electric Mistress that he connected me to. And I carried that around with me for a long time, touring in Porcupine Tree. And at one show, somebody stepped on it. Your gear's out there. We were always the headliner, and we had a support act somewhere in Dallas, and somebody in the changeover stepped on it and crushed it. I went to Daniel about it. And he got it repaired for me, but then we both had that realization that it was repaired and it was going to be great. But it wasn't going to be safe out there. So, through the years, I tried different things and never really settled on another flanger that I've really fallen in love with, until now. So in this latest batch of pedals that I got, obviously there was the Horsemeat, which was fantastic. And one of the other pedals that came with it was the Wind Through the Trees. And it was a pedal that Paul designed kind of based on his own history with the flanger and the things that he wanted it to do, and the versatility that he wanted to incorporate in it. Because as modern players, we have limited space on our pedal board. We have limited room for things. And so if it's going to take up that space on your pedal board, it has to do stuff. And that's kind of what I love about this particular box. I also love that Paul really paid attention. Of course, he always does. But I just want to point out that Paul and the team paid particular attention to the build quality of the box. So this is so much tougher than, let's just say, a mid-70s flanger that I might have been dragging around a long time ago. And it's a lot more smaller. It's compact. And it's also not driven by an 18-volt power supply. It's driven by a 9-volt power supply. So it just plugs into any of your different power sources. I'm very excited about that. So I wanted to just take a minute to just kind of demonstrate to you just a couple of the settings on Wind Through the Trees and kind of give you an idea of just how wonderful this thing sounds. So we always start with a great guitar tone. This is the PRS Joe Walsh. It's a 594 with some extras added to it, or just some different things. You can buy a 594 off the shelf and it'll be a similar thing to this. But this is just a little tuned up for Joe Walsh. Some things that Paul did for him, and I've fallen in love with the guitar. So this is the Joe Walsh straight to my classic Marshall, my old 75 Marshall that was modded, and you can hear it. Edge of breakup, like normal, clean. Good, tight, straight, classic Marshall sound, which I really love. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Horsemeat as the gain box on this. So I've got this straight to the amp sound, but I want a little more chunk for this demo, so I'm going to add in Horsemeat. So this is just my great stock rhythm sound. The Horsemeat, as you can see by the settings here, I've got the level kind of jacked. Very little gain because I want to just take the sound of the amp and just take it to the next level. Now, if I want to do a solo or something really aggressive, I've got another pedal underneath the deck, the old Analog Man King of Tone, which I really love. So I have this as the Horsemeat. I have it stacked on the Marshall, and I want to bring in my favorite Wind to the Trees setting. And it's kind of a variation of one that's in the book. And it's because it's kind of the sound that I always look for in a flanger. And it's that slow, kind of cool, I kind of call it 70s vibe. And here we go. Right. So that's cool. It's just great sounding. And, it's got the two LFOs. I'm not going to go deep into the controls because it's all over YouTube. And it's when you buy the box, it's all right there. So you can go to the Paul Reed Smith website and you can really dig deep into what it does. But basically it's two flangers in one. It's two LFO sides, and you kind of work them against each other. And it's just so this one is a real super slow sweep with kind of a moderately fast sweep, and we can go a little more to, I think it's going to be a little more on the slow sweep side. You can kind of hear that, it's just great. And so that's a setting that I really love, and it's a setting that it's going to get some play on my next set of songs. So that's fun. All right, you can hear it. It's big, bold, beautiful, just great sounding. It's just got all the great characteristics. So in this set of controls, you can do so much with it. So I want to do a real quick thing. Paul gave his favorite setting on here, and I wanted to dial that up real quick. So you can just grab a knob. And that's the other great thing about this pedal. If you're in a session or if you're working really fast, you don't have to go into menus to make massive changes to really change the sound. You just get in there and you start tweaking knobs, man. It's like, it's just a great thing. Now, with pedals with a lot of menus, you kind of got to do your tweaking beforehand, or you got to set up an iPad, which is great. In some situations it's fine, but when you're in a studio, man, time is money. And, for me, I own my own studio, but my time is very valuable to me. So especially when I'm creating, I want to be able to get a sound, and I want to be able to get it quick. And you saw how easy that was to completely change the dynamic of this pedal, and listen to the difference. that's Paul's personal setting, and it's just kind of awesome. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're really in the market for just a top-notch, well-built, well-designed, incredibly transparent flanger with just tons and tons and tons of features and depth and just amazing tones, the PRS Wind Through the Trees might be the box for you. It's certainly the box for me. It has taken the flanger seat. I was rotating a few things through, hadn't really still after all these years, after leaving that old 70s electric mistress behind in Daniel's shop. And I think it's on the wall. If you watch that pedal show, I think it's the one on his wall. Could be. Anyway, after leaving that one behind, I haven't really found like the one, but I think this is it. And I think as I work towards my next set of recordings, I'm sure you're going to hear it, as well as a few other special things on that record. So thank you for watching The Journeyman Guitarist today. You can check out the Wind Through the Trees at PRS.com. And, I think it's available in a bunch of different places. I really highly recommend it. I hope you love it. I hope you grab it. Remember to like, subscribe, recommend it to your friends. The Journeyman Guitarist, signing out for now. Take care.